What would you do if you were outnumbered 10-1 on the battlefield? How could 5,000 English soldiers stand a chance against a French army 10 times their size? Today, we dive into the epic Battle of Agincourt, a clash where tactics, terrain, and leadership turned an impossible situation into a stunning English victory. Was it sheer luck, brilliant strategy, or something else that allowed Henry V to defy the odds? What key decisions outsmarted the much larger French forces and led to one of the most famous upsets in military history? And if you were in command, what would you have done differently? Before we jump into the action, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more epic history breakdowns. Let's explore how 5,000 men outmaneuvered a seemingly unstoppable French army. The Battle of Agincourt took place during the 100 Years' War, a brutal conflict between England and France. In 1415, under King Henry V, England was on the offensive. After a grueling siege at Harfleur, the English army, sick, starving, and exhausted, began a retreat through France, pursued by a much larger French force. Once nearly 10,000 strong, Henry's army had dwindled to just 5,000. Yet, despite the dire circumstances, Henry refused to surrender. On October 25, 1415, near Agincourt, the French finally caught up. Outnumbered nearly 10-1, the English faced what seemed to be certain defeat. But what happened next would shock the world. The battlefield at Agincourt turned into an unexpected advantage for the English. Positioned between two dense forests, the French were funneled into a narrow space, limiting their superior numbers. Heavy rain had soaked the ground, turning it into a quagmire. Henry V, a brilliant tactician, seized this opportunity. He positioned his archers on the flanks and had them construct wooden stakes to defend against cavalry charges. His smaller, more mobile army used the tight space and mud to their advantage. The overconfident French failed to adjust their tactics. But imagine if the battlefield had been an open plain. Would the English have stood a chance? At the heart of the English strategy was their greatest advantage, the longbow. Feared throughout Europe, English longbowmen could fire accurately from over 200 yards away. As the heavily armored French knights advanced through the mud, they faced a relentless barrage of arrows. Positioned behind stakes, the longbowmen unleashed a storm that pierced even the strongest armor. Horses fell, knights were unseated, and the once feared French cavalry was thrown into chaos before reaching the English lines. The longbow shattered French momentum. What should have been a glorious charge became a nightmare of mud, arrows, and death. French overconfidence, their greatest weakness. The French believed victory was assured. With over 50,000 troops, including the finest knights in Europe, they viewed the English as a ragged force ripe for slaughter. This overconfidence proved disastrous. French leadership failed to coordinate their forces. Instead of utilizing their numbers effectively, they launched disorganized attacks into the narrow battlefield, where size became a liability. The thick mud and heavy armor left them vulnerable to English longbows. By the time they realized the trap, it was too late. Could the French have avoided this disaster by taking the English more seriously? Henry V's leadership at Agincourt was masterful. Leading from the front, he inspired his weary soldiers to stand firm against overwhelming odds. His calm, focused demeanor was crucial to the English victory. Henry fought defensively, forcing the French to attack on his terms. His strategic use of longbowmen and the terrain transformed the battlefield into a deadly trap. While the French faltered, Henry ensured every Englishman knew his role and fought with discipline. In contrast to the disorganized French forces, the English were unified and disciplined. Henry's ability to inspire and maintain morale was remarkable. As French knights trudged through the mud, they became stuck and vulnerable. The English archers, after exhausting their arrows, joined the fray with swords, axes, and stakes. Overwhelmed by the ferocity of the English counterattack, the French forces descended into chaos. What should have been a crushing defeat for the English turned into a disaster for the French. The mud, arrows, and relentless English assault broke their lines, sending them into a full retreat. By the battle's end, the French suffered catastrophic losses. Estimates suggest between 6,000 and 10,000 killed, while English casualties were astonishingly low, around 400 men. Henry V achieved a victory that would echo through history. Agincourt became a symbol of English military prowess, and Henry V was hailed as one of England's greatest kings. The French nobility faced devastation, with many of their finest knights lost, shifting the balance of power in the 100 Years' War dramatically in England's favor. This victory was not just about brute force, it was about strategy, leadership, and using the environment to turn the odds in their favor. The Battle of Agincourt was a triumph of strategy over strength discipline over chaos and intelligence over sheer numbers. Henry V and his outnumbered army used every advantage to defeat a French force 10 times their size. If you had commanded the French army, what would you have done differently to avoid disaster? Could this crushing defeat have been prevented with better planning? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more legendary battles and historical stories. Thanks for watching.